Welcome back to the channel. I'm up at the cabin today and I need to take down all the taps and the buckets that we have up from sap season. Syrup season is officially over and we finished the season with just under 50 liters of syrup. Syrup has been available on the website for the last week. There still are a few jars left if you're looking to get some, but they are just about gone. As you can see, it's definitely spring out. The sun is shining, the grass is starting to grow, there's birds out, and I swear I just heard some mosquitoes fly by. Today is a perfect day to be out in the bush to take down all the taps. After I take down all the taps, I have to take down the hut that we have. And basically, I'm just tidying up from syrup season today. Unfortunately, I won't be able to hunt any turkeys today, although they are everywhere. They are walking around in front of the cabin right out in the open, which is a shame that it's still 10 days away. The buckets on the trees are basically empty as the trees aren't running anymore. I've got lots of work to do and I'm up here by myself, so I think it's time for me to get started. So there's a little bit of sap in the bucket, but we know it's no good because it's very cloudy. It's almost a little bit kind of like milky and there's some white stuff floating on top. This is just the end of the season and I haven't been able to get up here to dump it out. So typically when the season is over, a little bit more is going to come out of the tree, but it's going to be cloudy and milky looking. You'll know it's also no good because it has a bit of a sour smell. And the only thing I can equate it to is if you make your own yogurt, a fermented yogurt, that's kind of what it smells like. It has like a fermented, ripe kind of smell, and this will not make good syrup at all. So we're gonna dump this out. This one was basically thick. It looked like milk. It kind of had the consistency of syrup. It's a little bit thick, but it's completely white and it smells terrible. If you watched any of our videos this season, you'll know that this was the best season we've ever had for syrup. The weather this season was a lot different than it has been in the last few years. We had our first run, which was really early this year, which we weren't quite prepared for. We put the buckets up a couple days after the first run had begun because it was so early. I wasn't really expecting the sap to be running as well as it was. And then after that, the weather changed and it was absolutely perfect. I think we got 200 gallons within a few days and that happened twice. So I think in total, we ended up with somewhere around 2,000 liters of sap, I think, by the end of the season. So we had a great season this year and we ended up with 50 liters of syrup, more than enough for us for the year and more than enough for us to be able to offer some to you guys. That's the last of the buckets from around the cabin. I think in total I dumped out, I don't know, maybe 2 gallons of funky sap. All the buckets and taps are off the trees up here and it's time to get the four-wheeler out and head out into the bush to pick up the rest of the buckets. We got a bit of rainwater in some of these barrels, so I'm just emptying them out so that we can give them a good clean. Because the tarp wasn't on all the way, or a piece of wood fell off, or whatever happened there, we ended up with some rainwater in here with some debris. And if I leave it in here for the summer, it's just gonna get really gross inside, and I don't want that. I want these buckets to be taken care of so that we can use them again for next season. So I'm just draining them out. This one, you can see there's very thick, milky looking liquid coming out. This barrel had a little bit of sap left in it. I think my dad was up here maybe last week, and he must have gone out and collected the buckets not knowing that the season was over. So this bucket actually has spoiled sap in it, which I don't want. So I'm just letting that go onto the ground there. Once these are empty, I'll leave them up here and I'll let them dry out completely and then put them away for the season. The brick is actually in the bottom of this thing, so that's probably why we got some rainwater in it. This was on top of the barrel, keeping the tarp on top, but clearly it was a little windy up here. At the end of the year last year, we put these tags up on the trees so that we knew which trees to tap in the winter. I think I'm going to leave them on. I wasn't going to, but I think I will leave them on. This is the first year these trees on this side of the property have been tapped, so I'd like to tap them again next year. I'll probably just leave the tape on the trees so I know where my trees are for next year. You can see how thick this stuff is coming out of the bucket. He's going to need a good wash when we get home. It's been really windy the last week or so you can see some of the buckets have tipped over. If this was mid-sap season, I would be so upset because we would have lost some good sap, but it doesn't really matter right now because we're taking them off the tree. I can't believe syrup season's already over. I feel like it just started. It flew by this year. Once all these buckets are off the trees, really the next thing that needs to be done up here is I need to come up and start splitting wood. I only have about 1 cord of wood cut so far, and I need probably 9 or 10. So I got a lot of work to do, and I need to find some time to come up and start splitting wood. Last year, we ended up burning 7 cords. We burned out of it by, I think, March. I ended up having to take a cord off the porch here, and I got a cord off my dad. He cut a tree down that was dead, so we took that. Right now I have 1, so a lot more splitting to do. Just about finished. I've got about 15 buckets left over here, and then that's all the taps and all the buckets off the trees. A lot of the buckets had that really thick, sort of viscous, kind of almost gelatinous liquid stuff inside. The sap is definitely spoiled. It's been sitting on the tree for way too long. Unfortunately, my schedule is just too busy to be able to get up here to get it. But thankfully, there's only about 1 inch or 2 inches in each of the buckets, so it's really not a huge waste. Once I'm done taking all the rest of these buckets off the trees, I'm gonna head over to the hut, and I have to take that down, put all the tarps away, tidy up the stuff, grab the sap evaporator pans, and that's basically it. So in case you're wondering why I'm taking the tap out of the tree, the reason is you don't want to leave the tap in the tree. Even if you have a big operation and you've got lines running and stuff, you still always pop the tap out. You never want to tap the same hole 2 years in a row. We're not using the same hole that we drilled this season for next season. So you take the tap out, you let the hole heal over, and then next season, I'll drill a hole at a minimum of 6 inches away from the original tap, and that's 6 inches in every direction. So maybe next season I drill the hole down here or over here, but you never want to leave the tap in the tree. We're always pulling it out so that the tree can heal. And the way I'm doing that is I'm just using a hammer and I'm just popping the tap out, and that's it. It comes right out. So as you can see here, I've started splitting wood for next season. This is about, I don't know, probably a cord of maple. It's wet still because it's only been split for, I don't know, maybe a month or so. So I have to bring this home and stack it up so we can get some better air circulation and dry out faster for the winter. This is not near enough. This will last us, oh gosh, I don't know. This won't even last us a month. It'll probably last us like 2 weeks. So lots more wood to split, but at least we've got a head start here. And then just over here, I've got a small pile of pine already split. The reason I'm splitting the pine is because that's what I use to burn for syrup. I'm not going to use the good wood like the maple or the oak or birch or anything when we're doing sap. I want to save that wood for at home because it burns better and it keeps heat longer, especially overnight. So the pine and the spruce and all the soft woods, this wood will burn just fine at home, but it burns way too fast. So I can't be getting up 4 times a night to stock the fire at home. I'd rather just load it up with maple, oak, or birch because that will burn all night. So spruce and pine are excellent for doing syrup, and there's absolutely no shortage of that here. If you watched any of the videos from last year or the year before, then you would know that a storm came through here and kind of just demolished a large portion of the trees here. So that's the reason I'm splitting so much wood. We're not taking down live trees, only using the ones that are already down. And conveniently, there's a lot of hardwood down. come off the tree and we can officially say that syrup is done. I still can't believe how fast this season went. I feel like I just set these buckets up and now I'm already taking them down. It's another season in the books and I'm looking forward to see what next season brings. I've got 47 taps up this year and I'm hoping to go, I mean, ideally 100, but realistically speaking, probably 75, which means I need to put up about, I don't know, 30 or so more, which I feel like is feasible. There's tons of trees, so we'll see what happens next season. That's a wrap on syrup season 2024. I still can't believe it's over. I feel like it just started. This season went by so fast. I know I've already said that, but every year that I do this, no matter how many times I do it, I put the hole in the tree, the sap comes out, and then somehow we end up with syrup, and it still blows me away that something so simple can turn into syrup. And I feel the same about hatching chicks. I put the egg in the incubator and in 3 weeks we have a chick and I'm blown away every single time, even though I've been hatching for years. It's the same with syrup. It's just wild to me how we can produce something really just out of nothing. So I'm glad that this season is done. I'm glad that this season went as well as it did. And I'm already looking forward to next season to see how that turns out. Of course, I don't want to rush it because it is now springtime and we've got the whole summer ahead of us. So I don't want sap season to come that fast. That's it for today. I got everything all cleaned up. Everything's packed away and ready for the next year. Next time I come back up here, I'll grab the sap evaporator trays. I can't bring them home today because the truck is full. So I'll grab those next time I'm up, which will be shortly because I need to get up here and start splitting wood immediately. If you didn't get syrup yet, there's still a few jars left online. You can visit the website at www.living-different.com. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and follow us on Instagram @_livingdifferent so that you can stay up to date on what I'm up to. That's it for today. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.